Right now, it is time for the Way Black History Fact. And today's Way Black History Fact comes from immigrationhistory.org. I want to share a disclaimer here. I'm going to be using a word that I think is a disgusting word. It is a very unkind word, but I feel like this story needs to be told in its fullness so that people are aware of what has happened in this country and what is happening in this country, and so that people can investigate it further. And so I will be using language that I would not normally use, nor am I condoning this language, but I need to tell the history in its fullness. Not subject to general immigration restrictions until 1965, Mexicans crossed into the United States at rates of about 1 million per year in the 1950s. This migration was largely unregulated, and Southwest agricultural interests depended on Mexican labor. However, national concerns regarding employment for returning soldiers and uncontrolled migration across the southern border inspired the Immigration Bureau to crack down on Mexican immigrants in the United States. Even as the Bracero program continued to recruit temporary Mexican workers, the Immigration Bureau and Border Patrol led these military-style roundups, claiming to have deported 1 million Mexicans. Among those deported included many U.S. citizens of Mexican descent. In 1951, President Truman's Commission on Migratory Labor released a report blaming low wages in the Southwest and social ills on illegal immigration. Quote, "The magnitude has reached entirely new levels in the past 7 years. In its newly achieved proportions, it is virtually an invasion." Sound familiar? The report said, after touring Southern California in August 1953 to assess the impact of illegal immigration, President Dwight D. Eisenhower's Attorney General Herbert Brownell Jr. pushed Congress to enact sanctions against employers of undocumented workers and to confiscate the vehicles that were used to bring them to the United States. While neither proposal became law, the administration moved forward on plans for a deportation operation. On June 9, 1954, INS Commissioner General Joseph Swing announced the commencement of Operation Wetback. The first phase of the operation began in California and Arizona. Its effectiveness depended on publicity as well as manpower. Extensive media coverage that often exaggerated the strength of the Border Patrol, as well as targeted displays of strength, gave the impression of a greater force. In many regions, this strategy convinced thousands who had entered the U.S. illegally to repatriate voluntarily. In Texas, for example, more than 63,000 individuals returned to Mexico of their own volition. U.S. officials detained an additional 42,000 persons in July of 1954. An INS report later indicated that the agency apprehended nearly 1.1 million individuals. The INS operation won at least tacit support from several key groups. The Mexican government, labor groups, and even Mexican-American civil rights groups acknowledged the labor problem, but they withheld extensive criticism. While the raids disrupted the growing seasons in California and Arizona, the government pacified farm owners with promises of additional bracero labor. Though the program was touted as a success, its efforts were short-lived. Illegal entry exploded again after the United States terminated the bracero program in 1954. The reason I wanted to share that is because there's nothing new under the sun. We've always had a very good relationship with Mexicans, and I'll speak for myself, and Ritzy, of course, you can chime in if you so choose. I'm from California. I live in Arizona. The land that I live on used to be Mexico.
Right.
And that border and the people that live there, they have come and they have gone forever. And they are not the people that they've been made out to be in the media.